Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our monthly community education panels for the Holistic Chamber of Commerce. I am your moderator and your HCC Online Global Online Sales Director, Lainie Sevante Wulkan. I'm also the co-author of the Food Healing Oracle Deck. Very, very proud to be here tonight talking about a subject that isn't always wanting to be talked about. You hear it more often these days, of course, mental health awareness. Are you taking care of your mental health challenges? Of course, this is Mental Health Awareness Month. This is even a specific day today where we're really encouraging people to be aware, whether it's you or a loved one or a client or anybody who really may be struggling, particularly over this last year in change and continuing on. There's been lots of reasons that we've had struggles, but we've gathered an amazing team here tonight of professionals who are members of the Holistic Chamber of Commerce, and they are so full of wisdom and are here with just open arms to support you in all ways. Like I said, whether it's for you or somebody else, we hope you glean some great wisdom tonight that will support you moving forward. So why don't we get right into it? I'm going to introduce our first panelist is Melissa Peshka. Melissa Peshka is the founder of Essential Life Mastery Coaching and Healing and the 8-week coaching program, The Art of Thriving, Becoming the Master of Your Life. She is certified as a life mastery coach, Yasui and Holy Fire Reiki master and teacher, and she is an angel card reader. Welcome, Melissa. So good. It's so good to have you here.
Hi, Lainie. Thank you. I'm so glad to be here to help spread the word about mental health and all the different ways that we can achieve mental wellness.
No doubt. Well, if you are an HCC Global member, you would probably know Melissa because every Wednesday she has Words of Wisdom and she posts a video on there. I look forward to it. I'm like, it's Wednesday, waiting for Melissa's post. Okay,
Wednesday
next.
Wisdom.
I love it. All right, next to Melissa, we have Jeffrey E. Berger, or Jeff Berger. Jeff is a certified health and integrative wellness coach and is aligned with the only holistic mental wellness company that focuses on the microbiome, which is gut, brain, heart axis. He'll tell you a lot more about that. And his mission is to help to lead the holistic global mental wellness revolution. We're going to find out what that's all about. Welcome, Jeff.
Thanks, Lainie. I'm humbled to be on this panel tonight, and I'm going to just show my shirt here, if everybody can see it. What is mental wellness? It is everything. So I'm anxious to share some wisdom tonight for the viewers.
Thank you. Well, I think there are a lot of people out there who may be not comfortable talking about it. So we're going to make it comfortable tonight to talk about it with everybody's talents here and wonderful expertise. Next, we have Heather Phillips. Heather is an amazing, amazing woman. She's a creator, author, speaker, mentor, international recording artist, and she's the director and vice president of Muscle Tuners International. She's also on the global team as our Canadian ambassador for the Holistic Chamber of Commerce. Yay! She empowers people to do energy self-testing, to access the unconscious mind, uncover the cause, and reveal the solution to what is negatively affecting them. Sometimes we just don't know, right, Heather? Welcome. Are you on mute? Unmute, love. Go for it.
Thank you. It's really great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, from Canada. And another from Canada. We have Angela Tsounis. I'm so glad she's here. She's really representing an area that is so important, our future generations. Angela is a certified holistic lifestyle coach and an anti-typecast spiritualist. I love that. We've got to find out more what that means. Angela is a podcast host and author of Different from the Other Kids, a grassroots effort aimed at educating and supporting the parents of kids that struggle with mental health issues. Her passion is how to connect people to the natural solutions for everyday great mental health. Welcome. Ooh, I got chills on that. Welcome, Angela.
Thanks, Lainie. Thank you very much for having me, everybody. This is an absolute honor. I am absolutely so thrilled to be here. Every single thing that happens in mental health these days is going to happen as a result of education and open dialogue. And this is an excellent, excellent opportunity for both of those things. I thank you for having me.
I'm so glad you're here. I think that where we are needing to discuss it is everybody's mental health, and to hopefully get signs. We're going to talk about signs. We're going to talk about what is. I think we're actually, why don't we just get into that right now? I'm just going to throw it right back to you, Melissa. We'll kind of go round robin. Just a general question, which is, what is mental wellness? I mean, it's not a catchphrase. And, you know, for those who wonder if they even fit into a category, what is mental wellness to you? What is it to Jeff? What is it to Angela? What is it to Heather? I'm going to want to know. Like, we might all have different point of views, including my own, but let's come to a consensus that we can support our listeners to. Go for it. What is mental wellness? What does it mean to you?
Mental wellness to me means having good judgment of mind, being able to handle stressful situations, enjoying life, and just being confident also. When we suffer mental illness or different mental health, we lose that ability to endure the situations that life brings us. When we have good mental wellness, we're strong-minded, we are strong-willed, we can handle those things, and we can make better judgments, better assessments of situations, and able to see inside of ourselves in order to help heal our own mental health and keep it sustainable. So that's
Awesome.
what it means to me.
No, it's beautiful. I think that's, well, I'm going to let you all speak. I'll give my 2 cents in. By the way, hi, Christine. Hi, Lucy. If people want to say hello, let us know you're here. If you have questions for the panel, make sure you address them. I will get to them. What does it mean to you, Jeff? What does it mean, this mental wellness world that we are trying to navigate?
Absolutely. Yes. Huge, huge topic. And for me, since I'm all about the microbiome, mental wellness, what I've really learned is, you know, it's really living a life of abundance and optimum wellness, physically, mentally. And what I mean by physically is that what I've learned is the foods that we're eating today are really tainted with chemical preservatives. So my whole thing is really to get out there and educate people about the microbiome and the importance, because physically, meaning you're really free of disease or minimal. You know, you've got really good health, you've got energy, you've got motivation. You know, inflammation is basically reduced to nothing to none. And then we've got the mental aspect of it. And the science is showing that when you are eating bad foods and it disrupts the gut integrity, it impacts your mental well-being, because there's a communication between the gut and the brain. And so many people don't understand or don't even know about this. And the science is out there. It's proving it. You need to get out there and really educate that. For me, there's a lot of people who use the phrase mental illness. I don't like the illness. I like replacing the I with a W-E for wellness, and learn about mental wellness and encourage people to really branch out and get educated about this, because you can make significant changes to your own mental wellness, which is what I've done over the last 3 years, having suffered from severe anxiety, stress, among other things as well. So mental wellness for me is really living that abundance and having optimum performance and mental clarity, physical energy, and emotional well-being.
My goodness. Thank you, Jeff. Okay. I agree with you entirely. I think food is medicine. We teach that in the Food Healing Oracle deck. I think it impacts you emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually. I think it's very important. We're going to talk probably a lot about food tonight from all of us, especially Jeff and me. And so, Heather, do you want to just add to your perspective? Because you have a very different perspective, or a unique perspective that's all your own in what you teach. Tell us more about mental wellness.
Mental wellness is, I do believe that mental wellness comes in a continuum. And Dr. Andrew Weil, I listened to him a couple of years ago in audio, and it blew me away, because everything that he said, I aligned with. And mental wellness to me is the ability to flow in life, in energy, in and out of emotion, and not get
that
stuck.
abundance and having optimum performance and
Mental well to flow. What's going on?
Thanks, Jeff. Go ahead. Keep
Sorry
going,
about
Heather.
So I actually was going to say, like Jeff, I think part of the stigma, I know we're going to get to this later, but
We
the
will.
mental wellness to me is the flow of emotion and not getting stuck in the emotion. And I believe that's where it starts, but it's a continuum, because if you're not mentally well, your physical body's going to break down, and it's going to continue, and then it's a vicious circle between your physical well-being and your mental well-being. And so we want to make sure that all of the components of our life, including our energy, is optimized through everything we're going to talk about tonight. But mental wellness is all of it, and flow,
Perfect.
flow, not getting stuck.
Well, we will talk about it tonight, because there are people who don't know they're not mentally well until somebody brings it to them. So we will talk about what are the signs, even if you don't even realize it yourself, that you're on automatic and you're kind of taking a detour on what is optimum mental wellness. Angela, let's add to that before we go on.
I have a very simple way of looking at it originally, which is your ability to manage daily life in good and bad times, to make sure that you don't have an overblown reaction or an underblown reaction, just depending on what it is that it has happened during that particular day. I also have a great belief in a very good self-image. That really can make a huge difference in mental health. I'm also very glad that Jeffrey jumped in with food right away. My history is that I had a 17-year-old daughter who tried to kill herself, and she was in the hospital, and I was trying to get coaching, and I wasn't able to get any coaching anywhere I went through the community. So I started to tape conversations that I was having with people, whether they be psychologists or other parents or people affected with other mental health issues. And when I went when I started to take the podcast, I started to make it into a podcast, and then I actually transcribed it into books. But what I wanted to say, Jeffrey, was that the first thing that we did with my daughter Christina when she got back home was food, and that is an absolute drop dead, no negotiation way of looking at things. That is a gigantic way of which you can change your brain and body chemistry, is through food. And we do completely underestimate. And Lainie's food deck with, I'm sorry, what's your co-author's name?
Joanna Salerno. She's my partner in produce.
Right, sorry. Your partner in crime there. Yeah.
And produce.
So you'll see throughout this, I'm sure, for the listeners or the watchers here, that there will be a lot of food talk. Unfortunately, in North America, we have done a very poor job with soil management, and we are pretty stripped of nutrient. And then on top of it, we have an unbelievable amount of chemicals in our food, and it is playing havoc in our brains. So
awesome. Heather, do you want to add to that? Go for it. And then
I do. I just wanted to add a personal story that happened to me last Thursday, a week ago today, and it absolutely tripped me up for the whole week. I can say without a doubt that I was not mentally well this past 7 days. And it started with my eating raw cabbage, not fermented, just raw cabbage. And whatever was going on with me and that cabbage, it did not agree with me. And I went for a tumble mentally. And it's been interesting to kind of come back up. So just to the point that food is really important. That the food is really important. And we have ways to test food before we eat them. I mean, with the self-energy testing I'm talking about.
Thank you. Everyone's telling some stories. I'm sure, Melissa, you have a story too, because I want to talk about what you do at Essential Life Mastery and Coaching. And all of us, we call ourselves the wounded healers. We have to know from our own experiences how we can help as healers to others, how we can garner the wisdom to share it, what drives us and inspires us to learn more about ourselves so we can bring that knowledge to somebody else. So do you have a personal story that you want to share? It's kind of like what brings you, because you work with trauma victims, you do a lot of work, and mental health is your entire platform. So maybe just share a little bit more about what you do and how, if you have a story, Heather, thank you. Angela, thank you. I know Jeff's got not a great story, but you have a great story because you come from all of us. I mean, my story is very traumatic as well. Go for it, Melissa. You go first. And then we'll all share intimately with the global world right now.
Well, right now, my passion is, yes, helping people overcome trauma. And trauma can be very vast, okay? It can be anything. My focus is emotional mental trauma. I grew up enduring a lot of trauma as a child. I was picked on. I was, well, as you'd call it today, bullying, and grew up with a very functional / dysfunctional family, with alcohol addiction in the family, then moving on to a marriage with emotional abuse, mental abuse, alcoholism, and also just dysfunction, leading to my own traumatic experiences. My mental health caused physical health. My adrenals just about failed. And enduring that, and also watching my children go through emotional mental trauma. So going through the healing myself has brought me to this realization, and that is how I developed my 8-week coaching program, The Art of Thriving, because it really is an art to thrive in this life. And
No
looking
doubt.
back on my life, what I went through and how I healed, I put pen to paper to make this program so that I can bring it out and help people go through similar situations that I've gone through, helping them to heal. And you can't change the past. You can't change what happened. It happened. It's there. It's reality. However, you can change how you feel about it, how you think about it. And the more negative you think about it, the more you're going to stay in that place. So changing your thoughts, changing your feelings about something that happened is going to enable you to thrive in your life, because you're not holding that baggage. You keep carrying that bag around with you. It's just get weighted and weighted and weighted, because let's face it, life can get messy. It's not picture perfect and all roses and rainbows every day. It can get dirty, but it's how we handle that and how we endure through that. I mean, any second, any of us can experience a traumatic experience. It's how we learn to handle that, how we go through it.
No question. And for those of you who are like myself, true empaths, you can walk into a room and suddenly your mood is changed and it's not even your energy. So there's so many layers to this. And we're going to switch topics in a second. But Jeff, did you want to tell any backstory on you and what brought you to where you are now with getting really clear about how important mental wellness is?
Sure. I grew up and I'm actually a 2-time attempted suicide survivor, as well as chemical dependency back in my late teens and 20s. And for decades, I was living in high anxiety and stress, and developed type 2 diabetes in my 40s. I left corporate America in 2016, wanting to do something different and really wanted to focus on my health. Hence, I was introduced to the Holistic Chamber of Commerce, which opened up the door to a plethora of different things. And I was introduced to this holistic mental wellness company, which actually got me to really do a deep dive into the microbiome. With that being said, we talk about food, and I learned about the food. And since my journey, I've been able to lose 60 pounds, come off of 5 medications, and get my diabetic numbers down to a non-diabetic state. And what I've learned from that is that, the food that we're eating is causing disruption in our gut. I want to share my knowledge, my information, provide value for other people out there, because all of these foods are causing this disruption, causing multiple diseases, and we keep going with diseases are just exploding. And the idea is to get to the root of the cause. And we're not getting to the root. We are putting Band-Aids on. We're managing illness and not managing wellness. I know Lainie's going to talk about food. Food is medicine. It is, but there are plants. Plants are put here for a reason. And with the science that we have today, they are focusing on specific attributes within plants that actually target gut health and mental acuity. What I mean by that is anxiety, depression, stress, handling your cortisol levels. So with that, I'm living a lifestyle, a holistic lifestyle. It's a lifestyle change. I have to change. If I go back to my old ways, I'll go back to being, in a very bad situation. So thank you.
Thank you. A lot of us have been talking here about suicide and know a lot of people. If you know the people who know my story, my past partner was successful in committing suicide. And he had tremendous mental health challenges that couldn't find. And I'm a healer. I'm a psychic. I'm a fourth generation intuitive. I tried everything from ayahuasca journeys to you name it. I brought him to every shaman in the world and not successful. And I've learned a lot since he passed about this world and about the major stigma around suicide and mental health awareness. I was treated like I was a leper because I was with someone who killed himself. And so I got to really see the other world. And when somebody dies in your life, it unlocks a library of knowledge that you can't even experience until you've walked through that door. And I've learned a lot, became even a deeper healer. And a lot of wisdom came out in my life. But I want to talk about why there is a stigma around this. And, what is wrong with your child? And I can't wait to hear what Angela has to say. But suicide awareness, mental health awareness, it all works together. Were they eating the wrong foods? Probably, yes. We know that food, is vital. But there are a lot of elements as well, energetic frequencies, chemical imbalances. But I want to talk about that. And I want to talk about stigma and why are they still uncomfortable talking about this? So I'm going to go to Heather and then to Angela and circle back. Anyone go for it, Heather?
I'm so afraid I'm going to make a noise when I don't want to. So mental illness is the opposite of mental wellness. And so if you look at mental wellness on a continuum, it's much easier to identify yourself inside a continuum as opposed to saying, I'm sick, I'm ill. And it just like even me just saying that makes my stomach curdle. If somebody tells me, well, you're on the low side of mental wellness, it is easier for me to hear, easier for me to accept. And it's easier for me to talk to somebody else about that I want to be mentally well, and I don't feel like I'm there right now. As opposed to saying, I'm mentally ill, and you know what? I know people who are mentally ill and ended up at psychiatric hospital or had a lobotomy. So it's like, I don't want that stigma. I mean, there's a lot of fear around the mental illness. Mental wellness is not fearful. Mental wellness that's my goal. I want to go there. So I think the stigma has to do with language, and I think it has to do with fear. And when we talk about it and put it into a positive light, people are more willing to talk about it and get help.
Thank you for that. Well, that's what we're here to do tonight. That's why we're being transparent. We're opening our hearts. We're opening our arms. We're opening the possibilities for people to share in the comment section that you're not alone, that you are safe, that we all have been there in some level. Angela, want to add to that? Just a little bit about the stigma. I'm imagining with parents and kids, and don't have your kids with that child or whatever may come up. I'm sure you've seen it all in your journey.
Yeah, absolutely. It's quite disturbing, actually, because as a parent, you always look like you just have a very badly behaved child who is not listening and who is acting out. And generally speaking, they're having a difficult time managing themselves, and you're having a difficult time trying to help them manage in their situation. And you always feel like you're an outsider. So imagine that, and you're a parent. So imagine that when you're going to school with a group of kids that have already earmarked you as being strange, different, difficult, a general weirdo. That can really make a very huge impact on a child. And I would have to say, through the interviews that I have done, every single one of them, there has not been one where the child has not been absolutely really persecuted as a result of being quite different and not being able to manage themselves in a way that is quote unquote normal in some of the communities. It's tragic and it's difficult. And the only way that I believe you can get around it, language is a big part of it. Heather, thank you for sure. General education to me makes a gigantic difference. There are a lot of people that wander around with their head in the sand. They're very competitive with their children. They have them in competitive hockey and have them in competitive sport and all that. And it's all about having the cream rise to the top. And they don't want your child to associate with theirs. I think with more education, you would have the ability to be able to say, just because they're different doesn't mean that they're any less than. And in many cases, so much brighter in academically in many different ways than some of the children that may present as what we call quote unquote normal. They just have different gifts, obviously, but without teaching people that, they just look at things in a very sad, I would call it a sad way of looking at a small being. Yeah.
If you were pulling a card from my deck right now, I would say we need more onions in the world, which is acceptance. That's absolutely what, that's so important. Melissa, did you want to share anything about stigma, and then we'll throw to Jeff?
Yes. The stigma that I've seen is that some people feel it's shameful, especially people who have dealt with mental, emotional abuse. They're told sometimes you're too sensitive, you shouldn't feel that way, that shouldn't upset you. So you kind of question yourself and your validity of your own feelings. So you feel shameful. Well, I'm ashamed. I shouldn't feel this way because that's what everybody's told me. The person I trust the most has told me that. Shame brings that on us. However, it also could show a sign of weakness. It's just been coming forward that everybody has a counselor, everybody has a therapist, and it's coming mainstream. And I love that fact because it used to be like, oh, she's going to a therapist. There must be something wrong with her.
Yeah.
No, she's doing it to maintain her mental health. And that's shifting. I can see that shifting, and I'm so glad for that. But yes, before definitely was shame and shows weakness, and yeah, definitely in that line.
Thank you. Jeff.
So yes, I agree with all the panelists, and I'm gonna, highlight the education. I mean, this is something that's really not done, and it is a stigma. Growing up, what did we do? We went to physical education. All right, there was no mental health education back when we were going to school, and it needs to be a combination of both, because mental wellness is a collaboration of different modalities of, focus and pressure management and confidence and physical performance and mental performance and stress resilience. And we need to be starting to teach the kids out there at a young age about what this is and how to manage it within their own lives, because there's so much pressure today, especially with the bullying. We talked about bullying earlier. It still goes on.
Huge issue. Huge.
Yeah. And, thankfully it's starting to become in mainstream media, if you will. You've got the musicians and the athletes are starting to come out to share their own stories about their own mental wellness struggles. So it's too bad that they had to be in the forefront, but at least it's out there. It's starting to be talked about, and we need to talk about it more and not be ashamed about this, because we are all presented with different stress challenges, and that impacts us from a mental perspective.
Beautiful. Well, I want to talk about two things. One is, we've been mentioning offline. You actually mentioned it earlier, Heather, about the mental wellness continuum. What is the mental wellness continuum? In fact, I'm going to put something up. Jeff, I'm going to just have you briefly talk about what I'm putting up, and then maybe go to Heather, to Angela, to Melissa. We can all talk about this. What is this mental health continuum? I mean, there's so many catchphrases these days, but this one caught all of our attention when we were meeting earlier this week.
Sure. So yeah, the mental wellness continuum is basically a scale of where you are in life. And we start at the end on the right-hand side is being ill. And that's down at a 1, 2, 3, 4 level. And it's all about what are you going through? And these are different stages because you start out with the illness, then you're kind of injured, reacting, and healthy. And the idea is to be educating and understanding and applying these tools that everybody here on the panel and so many other people out there have tools for people to, get from one stage to another. And that's why I say living an abundance and optimum wellness physically and mentally, get away from that ill state, because it's not only food, it could be pressures outside or people that you're hanging around with that cause anxiety and stress with you. Don't be around those types of people, and get from that right side all the way to the left side, because you know what? Our body temple, if you treat it correctly, you can definitely do that in a relatively short period of time. And I'm going to say that with a caveat. It really depends on your physiology and more of what's really going on from a autoimmune perspective, but your body really reacts well when you treat it well.
No question about it. Thank you. Heather, did you want to add to that? And by the way, if you want to add to it, add to it. If not, I have plenty of other questions for you. But anyone, I think Heather, you did want to add to that, so go for it. Should I leave this up? Do you want me to leave this up as you're talking?
Yes, please.
Go for it.
So when I look at the injured, I look at it from a physical perspective. And when we are physically injured, we have issues. I had back surgery when I was 20, and everything that I knew about being physical and well got ripped from under me. I had a different social circle when I went back to school. I actually couldn't do things that I used to do from a physical perspective, and my life looked different. So if you take a 20-year-old and throw them into a totally different environment, there are going to be some adjustments to be made. When I look back, I think I came through it with flying colors, but I also had a lot of support from a lot of people. And so if we're not isolated in our injury, we will get better faster. So I think from a continuum perspective, you look at the healthy part and you aim for all of those, that side of life, and know that continuum, you can go in and out of situations in your life, whether it's divorce or education or surgery or injury. You're going to come in and out of that continuum, and know that you need tools to bring you back up to the healthy side. You need support to come back to the healthy side. That was really all I wanted to say, is that life is not all about healthy. You're going to experience the rest of it. So, I think the next part, Lainie, we're going to all talk about tips and tricks to get to the
we'll get to that.
So
Perfect.
that's all I really wanted to say about that.
Awesome. Angela, did you want to add anything on this continuum? We're good?
I just think
Go for it.
I just think it's a brilliant model. I think that we're all in this continuum one time or another. I think it's really important. I wish I would have had this when my daughter was going through her difficulty, because we would have been able to assess a little bit about what her day could look like. She had certain things that she had to do every single day when she was not well. And it was a laundry list of different things that would take her probably the better part of 4 hours in the day in order to get her completely centered and completely in a state where she could go on with her day. But there were other times that she would be she would be almost on the well side, and she might not have to spend as much time concentrating on those things, so she could actually get other things accomplished in her life. And I think this would have been an excellent way to be able to check in, whether it's every day, every week, every month, and just kind of say, oh, you know what, this is slipping, because this still happens to her. As much as she's very, very well, it can still happen. She'll run herself down. She won't have enough water, or she'll go off her food, and then she'll be in one of these states again. And I have to go back every time I go back, and I say, okay, we go back to the the pillars of where we started, and that is okay: food, water, sleep. So you go through all of those things,
Yes,
and
the
if we had
basics.
the basics, that we would have been able to have perhaps a more pointed and a better conversation all the way through with that model. I like it a lot.
Thank you. Melissa, go for it. Mhm.
Yeah, everything everybody's said. Yeah, this is, the second time I'm seeing this, and I think it's absolutely wonderful. It's kind of compacted into a neat little thing here, checklist almost. And yeah, I think it's phenomenal. And I agree with everybody. You go in and out of everything because life is not perfect all the time. So, but at least you can kind of have something to visually put yourself back into it. Okay, I need to check off this. I need to check off that. I think it's fantastic. And like Jeff just said, if anybody wants it, reach out to him. I think everybody should have it. I think the schools should have it. I think everybody definitely. I printed out a copy myself, so it's wonderful.
Excellent. Thank you. Well, we've been talking about the issue. We've been talking about the challenges. Now, let's move. This is just, we could talk always on this subject. Say it's good for everyone's input, by the way. Christine and everybody else, Joanne is here. Let's talk about each individual, right? Joanna and I have a food healing oracle deck. We teach people, we call EMPS wellness, which I said earlier was mental, physical, and spiritual, through the consciousness of food. Being conscious within yourself to understand that your food has a story to tell. Let's go ahead and go around the room. Melissa, you just went. Maybe we'll start with Jeff and then just swing around. I'd love to just briefly, because I know we have a lot more to talk about here, just give from your perspective, from your business, each one of you, some tips and some strategies, some techniques. What do you use to support mental wellness that we can offer our listeners tonight?
Sure. Yeah. So one of the first things for me is when I'm out shopping for food, I really take a look at the labels on the boxes and the cans, which basically I don't use boxes and cans anymore for the most part, unless it's an absolute dire urgency. But learning what's in these things, circling around the outside of the stores where you're getting fresh vegetables and produce, and I've gone primarily plant-based. So food perspective is one thing. So that addresses the physical aspect. I work on, the exercise. My modality is the food, the exercise, the stress management. Stress management could be meditation or yoga or prayer, massage, chiropractic, or acupuncture. Those are different modalities that incorporate mental wellness. And then, of course, I'm utilizing a specific plant-based, science-backed, clinically trialed, vegan-friendly protocol that targets gut health as well as mental. Living in anxiety and depression and stress at a 10 plus for decades, I'm now at 1. And it's a brand new life, and it's amazing what you can do to your body to make those changes. So those are the three. Those are the ones there.
Thank you. That's wonderful. Heather, you're on.
So there's a few things that go on in my head right now. And one is that I'm all about energy. We are energetic beings, and everything feeds into energy. I mean, we're energy first, we're physical second. So if we can actually have some techniques to address the energetic being, that often takes care of other areas of our life. So with regards to acupuncture, chiropractic, a lot of people who use acupuncture know about the ancient Chinese meridians. And if the meridians are not flowing, then you can have trapped emotions, you can have trapped energy, and that will play havoc on everything else in your body, including your mental wellness. So I think we'll have enough time to give tips and tricks after. So I'll let somebody else speak about this right now. But my whole platform is about energy and keeping the energy flowing. When we keep our energy flowing, we keep everything else in tune as well.
Well, did you want to demonstrate a technique, or what were you thinking? Because this would be the time.
Okay. So with regards to body-brain connection, we have our spinal column, spinal fluid, we've got our blood, we've got meridians. So the heart pumps the blood and the lymph pumps the lymphatic, and the meridians are the energy circuits. So when we're in stress, we're in fight and flight, when we've had a reaction, the blood actually stops. It doesn't literally stop, but less blood flows to the frontal cortex, is where we process stress. And in today's society, there's a lot of stuff creating that fight, flight, freeze mode in our bodies, including fear from the pandemic and fear from bullying, fear from people, all that. So what I want you to do is put your fingertips nice and lightly, just here's the bump, your eyebrows, and there's the line, your pupils. So in line with your pupils, just above the bump, it's called the frontal eminences, and you're doing a nice eyelid touch or butterfly touch. And you'll often see people driving a car who, have an angry person beside them, or something's happened and they go like this with their head, or you see students in the classroom putting their hand on their forehead. That is a natural response. But if we can make it more, if we can actually do this consciously, we'll actually be helping ourselves consciously to get the blood flowing to where we process stress. So it's nice and light, and you do this as long as it takes, but sometimes it's 2 minutes, sometimes it's 10 seconds. So depending on how stressed you are, will depend on how long you hold your head here. And in a perfect world, you'd be thinking through, what do I want the outcome to be? How does it taste? How does it smell? How does it feel to have that perfect outcome, or the outcome you want? And if you can't think through that, you just be with the emotion, and you just be with the stress and let it process itself. But this helps a lot. That's my tip for tonight. There's lots more, but that one's called Emotional Stress Relief from Touch for Health. And I teach that in my Energy Boost Self-Care program.
She's amazing. I've taken all her stuff.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm looking forward. I know when you'll probably announce tonight. I'm taking that one too. All right, Angela, some tips and techniques you'd love to share with everybody.
Well, it's Heather was just mentioning vibration, and I do believe that there is a choice every single time you go to do anything, and it is either to raise your vibration or lower. Every time you go to take water, every time you go to connect with somebody, have a relationship with somebody, every time you go to choose food, every time you choose to exercise or not, it is that simple. Every single moment of every day is a choice to raise vibration or not. I also believe that there is one of the things that is very much underestimated is what I like to call a physical psychotherapy. I do believe that there are emotions that can get trapped in the body, and they do need to be released. You need a very pointed kind of yoga that will actually help you to get rid of some of the trapped energy that can be in your body. Heather, I'm sure Heather's program would be all about that. I need to connect with Heather, because that is going to be a really powerful modality, because that's the only way that I have learned is through actual stretching, yoga type stretching, yin yoga, things like that. And I will, it certainly has happened to my daughter multiple times. She would come out of most classes crying and crying and crying and crying and crying. And that is your physical being getting rid of, allowing it to gently release out of your body whatever it is that is sitting in your joints, in your musculature, in your fascia, that is sitting there giving you a hard time in your brain. And that can make the biggest difference in the world. The last one I would say is nature. I have changed my entire life to be completely immersed in nature as much of the time as possible. It changes everything for everybody every single time in my experience.
The perfect time to be plugging a walk in the wild. I know the majority of people here in this Facebook group that we have. I started it actually right when the pandemic was breaking last year, because we were so isolated. We were in lockdown. I'm sorry you guys are still in lockdown. At that scary time, the only coping skill that I saw was connecting into the mother, connecting into the energetic force of the land. And I took pictures of what I saw my walks, and I wanted to know what my friend was doing in Thailand, and I wanted to see what my friend was doing in Spain. And suddenly, several hundred people later, we all take pictures each week of what we see out on a walk in the wild. It's a great Facebook group, the most stress-free place, I think, on the internet that you can go and be wowed every day about the beauty and the wonder of Mother Nature. And every day somebody has something incredibly impacting, mental wellness at its best. I will throw Walk in the Wild in every day. It's just, and Angela, your pictures in there are amazing. All right, Melissa.
I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a great group. Woo! All right, Melissa, tell us some techniques that you offer. You offer a lot.
Well, so first and foremost, when you're starting to feel that stress and that insecurity of what's going on around you, you need to first be aware. You have to be aware of what's happening. You have to acknowledge the situation. Shoving it away, putting it under a proverbial rug is not going to help it. So assessing the situations, getting focused on it. And you need to focus because you need to feel the feelings. You need to experience it. And that way, then you can heal from it. You can learn from it, because every situation that is thrown at you is a lesson. It is a life lesson for you to learn. And once you learn it, you can throw it in your toolbox. You'll have it for the rest of your life. Some of the things I like to do, and I created the 10 mantras for healing that can be found on my website. I created that right when we went into lockdown last year. And it's such a helpful tool to continually repeat to yourself. You can say it in the morning, you could say it at night. Night is great because then it subliminally gets into your mind and just kind of settles in. And like what Heather said, as far as the energy flowing and being involved with Reiki, if your chakras are not in balance, you are going to have diseasement, which is going to lead into physical attributes, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, Jeff, and all of those things that are going to set you off physically if you're not continually working on your emotional, mental well-being. Things to do to relax. Sit on a table and get some Reiki. Give yourself some Reiki if you are a Reiki practitioner. Journal, just anything, and get out in nature. Oh, it's amazing. I go for a walk. I take my dog for a walk. Listen to podcasts that are uplifting. Listen to meditational music. Anything. I have my 7-month-old puppy sleeping to meditational music, and I can hear it in my bedroom. It's wonderful. So just anything that you can do, but always remember to focus on what the situation is that's bringing you the stress, because you need to focus it. Don't feed it, but you need to focus on it. You need to be aware and acknowledge it. And don't give it too much energy, but give it the energy it needs to be healed.
Nice. Beautiful. Jeff, you mentioned earlier about plants, and do you want to give an example of which plant? Can you talk about? I know you have a lot going on, but at least maybe give an example of the plants that you had mentioned earlier.
Yeah,
were
so
very important.
I'll highlight 3 plants and just an attribute. So science is really pulling where we are with technology, are really studying the plants. And for example, the mango leaf extract, has a long history in the tropical areas where mangoes are grown as a body and brain tonic, and it elevates mental and physical energy levels. So this also helps with anybody with wanting to do anti-inflammatory. So anything that is diseased, you've got some kind of inflammation. So there's the mango leaf, the lychee fruit. There's an extract that is extremely high, rich in absorbed polyphenols, and they've discovered that it has been shown that this works at the visceral fat level. And people are losing, up to 1 to 2 to 3 inches in their waist over, a 3 to 5 to 10 week period. So lychee fruit works at that visceral fat. And I know that many people are trying to get that last 5 to 10 to 15 pounds. The last one here is the palm fruit extract, which is known more for the palm fruit bioactive complexes. And this contains, like a water soluble polyphenol. and it supports total cardiac output, and it decreases the workload or the pressure of the heart. And all three of these elements, there's more attributes that go along with this, but they really focus on elevating and enhancing your mood, motivation, and metabolism. So plants do have a unique attributes that are outside of our typical daily, the cauliflower and the greens and the peppers and so forth and so on. So those are three examples there.
Thanks, Jeff.
Sure.
And Heather, I'm going to put you both on the spot because you have both gone through me and Joanna's reader certification program for the Food Healing Oracle deck. Why is the mango so wonderful, in addition to what Jeff said? Because in our Food Healing Oracle deck, it's our joy card. What makes that so special, and what does it compare it to? Ding, 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 ding.
You're talking about the orange for the chakras, and you're talking about the sweet taste, and you're talking about the joy, the color, the smell, all of that?
Yes. There's one specific, very fun fact that everyone should know. You'll learn it in our certification. I'll just cut to it because time is short. The phytochemical makeup in mango is the same as in cannabis.
I did not know that.
Right? You didn't know that? Why is it our joy card? Yes, there's actually so I'll just throw that out, and you'll learn a lot more when you take our class. But yes, that is a true fact. So you mentioned, Jeff, how wonderful mango is, but there's a lot of reasons anti-inflammatory. So then when you go look at the makeup of cannabis, right? So there are some wonderful things that nature has done. Follow nature. Nature always knows. We teach that. Okay, so what I'd like to do now, as time is short here, is maybe everybody share, because I know everyone wants to get to know all of the work that all of you do. They should, because you're all amazing. Maybe share a little bit about how they can spend more time with you, if there's anything special you'd like to offer, and then we'll go around with that, and then we're going to close with some final thoughts from all of you. So why don't we start with you, Angela? How's that?
Sure. So, Lainie, what would you want? Do you want me to
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about an offer? What would you like? Whatever.
If you have anything special, is there any special offer? How can people spend more time with you? If you have,
Great.
maybe what you were going to send on, we will be emailing
Great.
our beautiful HCC community what we've got going on and what offers. But we just want to maybe voice it as well here. Maybe
Sure.
it would even inspire people to join the Holistic Chamber wherever you are watching this. If you're not a member yet, you should be a member. We have such an amazing time together and great networking. But if you have any special offer, this would be a great time to mention that.
Sure. Well, I do. I have the books in written format. What
Okay.
I was going to offer was if you wanted to send me $10 for shipping, I'll send you a copy of the first and third book in the series, just to make sure that everybody had a little bit of a background of what goes on with me. I also have coming up, if you want to keep in touch with me, through angelasunis.net or angelasunis@gmail.com, is a new program that I'm launching sorry, I'm laughing at myself. There's a new program that I'm launching that actually is going to be coming up with it will help you to come up with your own toolbox and your own natural solutions for your mental health. So if you want to keep in touch with me, that should be launching, I'm going to say, in the next, I don't know, probably 2.5, 3 months, something like that. So it is in production, but it will give you, it's basically 5 different pillars of mental health. You will go through, within a 5-week period, you'll go through a bunch of, bit of a laundry list actually of each of the pillars to try. And then at the end of it, you're going to choose one from each of those, and you're going to come together and you're going to have your own mental health toolbox that you'll be working on that will actually raise the resonance, raise your ability to understand food, raise your ability to understand water and sleep and all of those, the big 5 tenements that I have. So keep in touch with me in those ways. You can also get in touch with me through Facebook.
Great.
as well. And all of my addresses, I think, will be posted somewhere, won't they?
We'll be posting all that as well, and you
Right
can after that onto this thread, and then we will also be again emailing all your info, all of our info, to our chamber members. Heather, thank you, Angela. Heather.
Well, the people watching this replay and watching live are HCC members or friends of HCC members. So if you use the code HCC10, you'll get 10% off of Win the Pain Game, which also includes the Energy Boost Self-Care Facilitator Program. It was kind of a mistake. It was a mistake. However, it's a great mistake for all of you. So you actually get certified to be an Energy Boost Self-Care Facilitator, help other people learn Win the Pain Game, and it's winthepaingame.com. And you can find out all about me there.
Gorgeous. Thank you. Okay, Melissa, and then Jeff.
Okay. So I can be found at essentiallifemasterycoachinghealing.com through the link that will be put up later. You can download the 10 mantras for healing so that you can subliminally put that into your subconscious at night before you go to bed. And you can have a complimentary consult. I'd love to get on to chat with anybody. Book a call with me. We can have a cup of coffee, tea, juice, maybe make a smoothie, and talk about the way that you can get into my coaching program, 8-week coaching program, The Art of Thriving, Becoming the Master of Your Life. Again, this is all designed on my own healing to bring you the toolbox, the tools to survive in your life and thrive. So we can do that. And I can also do Reiki distant through Zoom or phone call, whatever. Just get in touch with me. Give me a chat. We can talk about what you need to get your mental wellness back in track.
Gorgeous. Wonderful. Thank you. All right, Jeff, any special offers?
Sure. For those who are on the HCC, to either watching live or on the replay, my offer is this new Edge product. It's Amari Edge, and it addresses mood, motivation, and metabolism. And those are the 3 fruits that I described in the presentation in regards to the mango leaf, the lychee fruit, and the palm fruit. So the first five attendees who want to evaluate this product will get a free energy product, which is a $50 value for free. And the information will be in the post here. But then last week, I just want to mention too, is several people reached out. Last summer, I did a program called Become a Healthier You. We've been stuck inside. People have been gaining weight. So I'm offering a Let's Crush Summer 2021, and it's a 12-week program to go through the SENSE program that I talked about earlier, the modalities that I'm using, which is supplementation, exercise, nutrition, stress management, and then there's an evaluation at the end. That is actually on my Facebook profile page, so if you're interested in getting that, this program, you're only paying for the products, and the entire accountability, the coaching is for free for those that are going to join it for this summer. I want to help people look at that. And for the first 5 people that sign up for that is going to actually get a free Amari Edge container for this program as well.
Wow. Great.
Thank you.
Sure. I like what I love Christine anyways, but she always does something good. In fact, she's going to be on one of our panelists next month. Next month, we're doing spiritual practices for modern day times. Oh my God, it's going to be amazing. Mark your calendars a month from today. Christine says, Mother Earth gave us everything we need to live, survive, and thrive. I preach that with Joanna all day long. I'm going to throw into the mix because I think it's important. Everyone here touched on food. There's a reason we have our deck. There's a reason Mother Earth had us bring it out in the middle of the beginning of the pandemic. So we'd love to get everybody getting these decks and learning about 60 fruits, vegetables, herbs, and spices. The decks, if you use, even if you're not an HCC member, HCC 20, as well as we only do it a couple times a year, and it's filling now. July 9th and 10th, will be our next reader certification. It's a 2-day immersion into going deep into chakras, into nature's 5 elements, into color therapy, into fruits, vegetables, herbs, and spices, emotional, mental, physical, spiritual wellness. It is an immersion like no other. And our reader certification, I'm going to offer you $100 off if you want to take that course with us. You're only one of 10 people. It's a very intimate gathering we do. Okay, online, by the way, it's worldwide. All right, final thoughts. Let's start with you, Angela, Heather, and we'll just go all the way around. This has been an amazing. I think we have to do a part 2 one day. All right, final thoughts, just to tell to everybody.
I'm feeling very hopeful, and it hasn't always been that way as far as mental health was concerned. I started out with the end of the first book, ending it with what if. What if certain things could happen? What if this could be mainstream, that we could have these kinds of conversation? What if we could go more in a holistic style of things in order to deal with things instead of to the big pharmaceutical companies? And what if we could actually develop as human beings in a wholehearted and very natural, earthly manner? And this is very, very life affirming. This whole thing has been wonderful this evening, and I'm thrilled to say that I'm actually, it's taken a long time, but my optimism is absolutely happening now for mental health. It's a top of mind, and it's really, really coming along now. I'm absolutely thrilled, and I couldn't, my heart couldn't be fuller.
Oh, blessings. Oh, I got warm and fuzzies there. All right, Heather, go for it.
My final thoughts are, don't be afraid to acknowledge where you are on the mental wellness continuum. Do what it takes to get support for where you are and move through it so you can be healthy body, mind, and spirit, and body, mind, and energy, vibration. Keep your vibration high. That's what it's all about. And there's lots of things in the world that can bring us down. So get support where you can. And it's not a taboo anymore. Mental wellness is mainstream, and being mentally well is important. It's as important as eating. It's as important as exercise, eating good foods, nourishing foods and beverages, and being and keeping your energy high. It's really important. Everything mentally well is here to stay. The continuum continues.
Yes, can say it better. All right, Melissa. Thank you, Heather.
Okay. So with everything that we all have talked about and the times we're living in, okay, folks, get on the bandwagon, get that mental health going, do what you need to do. Okay. You know, it's there, there's a problem. Why wait? Okay. Do it. Join any one of us, or anybody. There's so many modalities out there. There's so much help to be offered. Do it. And most insurance companies help you pay for it. So my final thoughts are, just get yourself the help that you need before it's too late. So many tragic things can happen when your mind is telling you something completely different. And Heather, like you said, the food, and Jeff, junk in, junk out. Take care of yourselves. You only get this go around once. Make it a good go around. And I just couldn't be more happier to be a part of this, and everybody joining and watching live, the replay, whatever. Do what you need to do to get your mental health. You know it's there. So bring it to the forefront, acknowledge it, and get help.
Woo! Love it. All right, Jeff, bring us home.
So I concur, ditto with all these fine ladies on your final thoughts. We had this body temple, and we only have one to live, and we need to take care of it. And it's a lifestyle change, as I said earlier. Take one step at a time, because your body temple will heal. It took me 9 months to go through my journey. I'm still going through my journey. It will be forever. The other thing too is that the Global Wellness Institute had their annual symposium last November. And what I loved about this, and everybody here will resonate with this, is that there was a lot of great information, but what really stuck out was that they are now starting, and it's also going to be the next $1 trillion industry is mental wellness because it is a pandemic. But they're looking for companies that, and other organizations that provide non-pharmaceutical protocols that work and are safe. And holistic is the way to go. We're on that path. We are part of that journey in sharing value, sharing information, directing people so they can look at different options, allowing them to make educated choices rather than following a system that basically is getting you sick from the foods, getting you on pharmaceuticals, and fighting that vicious circle of being sick and tired of being sick and tired. We're done with that. We got to move forward and get healthy.
Amen.
Well said.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, everyone. Before we leave, I got to take off my Food Healing Oracle deck hat, put my Holistic Chamber of Commerce Global Online Sales Director hat. If you love what you saw here tonight, please consider joining us. We are growing in leaps and bounds. We now are across the US. We are now in Canada. We are now in Europe. We've now are in Mexico. Join a global community like no other, with like-minded beings, with a million different modalities that all come together for yourself. There are people who join us who don't even have a business but want to be part of this community and come to classes and workshops and be part of this wonderful organization. You'll leave with many friends, many business associates, and I'm happy to support you. So there is a, Leslie, if you could put my email address in here, that would be amazing. But I'd love to talk to you and let you know more about why all of us are here as chamber members. Thank you to Chameleon for creating this incredible organization that's 10 and a half years old. A lot's coming through this organization in making big changes in the world. I'm so grateful to be part of it. I was a former president of 3 chapters here in Florida, now running the global to support all of everybody's works. And I'm so proud to be here. Everybody, thank you. I love you all. I'm so grateful for all of your wisdom. May all of you please reach out if you need anything. We are a very open and welcoming panel. And I look forward to all of you getting the wellness that you so deserve. Amen. God bless. Take care.